Ahmadiyya zindabad, oh zindabad. 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 Ahmadiyya zindabad.
Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Allahumma salli wa barik ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ali sayyidina Muhammad innaka hamidun majid. We want to continue on our lecture on the problem of economic recession and the way out. I've said earlier on that we should not treat the problem of economic recession as a simple matter. Quran delve into it in long details and has to do with life and death, hell or paradise. Many nations have been destroyed because they created an environment that led to poverty and economic depression. Fundamentally, Quran says the cause of depression is corruption, fraud. Because things will go, life will go up and down. There will be period of prosperity, there will be period of decline in incomes. During period of prosperity, if we do not engage in extravagant spending, in fraud, the nation will have enough resources to take care of days of downturn in economic affairs. Now, we said a major way out, apart from resolving to fight corruption and to stop fraudulent practices at all levels, a major way out that we said was, first of all, to engage in consultation, in discussion with our people at various levels, at local government levels, ward level, state level, federal government level. Another aspect that we said is that, according to the directive of Quran, we should make sure that nobody goes hungry in the land. How do we achieve this? Quran has given us guidelines on how to ensure that nobody goes hungry in the land. In Quran chapter 67, Surah Al-Mulk, and many other parts of Quran, it says, it is Allah who has set forth for you the land, large expanses of the land. Allah says, traverse the wide side of the land and seek your sustenance from the land. But remember, you have to give account to God at the end of the day. So, another part of the Quran, Surah Al-Rahman, Allah says, we have set the earth, we have spread the earth for everybody, for every creature. And therein, you have all kinds of vegetation, palm trees, and all kinds of things from where you can derive your sustenance. Now, that is indicating to us that we want to solve the problem of hunger, to ensure that no one goes hungry in the land. We have to address agriculture. Fortunately, Nigeria is blessed with a large expanse of arable land in all parts of Nigeria. And we need to address agriculture in this respect. One major foundation in so doing is the establishment of a system that protects the freedom and security of life, property. Now, if we say, okay, we want to be equitable with everyone, allow people to engage in farming, in agriculture, assist people in agriculture. First of all, we need to ensure security in rural areas. Many people have gone to the land to do farming. and they'll be attacked by robbers, all kinds of rogues. And so people find the villages not safe enough to engage in agriculture. To start with, therefore, we have to ensure security of life and property in rural areas where we can embark on farming and agricultural development. That requires government to fund police substantially by recruiting and training a much larger number of policemen, and also by equipping them with the modern technology for crime prevention and detection. We need to budget adequately for security. Without security, many things cannot happen. Security is the major responsibility of government, where you protect the life of everyone, and no one's life is superior to another. Wherever you are, whatever your class, whatever your religion, whatever your tribe, you deserve equal treatment in the protection of your life and property. And this is seriously lacking in Nigeria. Well, we need politicians to go and discuss that, because some people say, okay, let there be state police. Whatever happens, God will call our leaders to account. If they fail to ensure security of life and property of every Nigerian, it's their responsibility. If a leader is not capable of ensuring security of life, let him not come into politics. Let him not say he wants to lead the country or rule the country. Number one responsibility of the ruler is to protect life. That is the greatest value, the most precious thing we have, our life, before we talk of any other thing. Number two, in the modern times, we cannot rely on agriculture of hoe and cutlass. The world has changed. Population has increased tremendously. We cannot rely on the old day method of farming. Unfortunately, there have been tremendous improvement in agricultural technology, mechanically, chemically, and biologically. Okay. We have machines like tractors with their implements that can plow, can ridge. We have combined harvesters that can harvest. We have hybrid seeds, results of tremendous biological processes, technological processes. So, our nation has the resources to acquire this modern technology and train our farmers, train our youths to engage in agriculture. Once we produce enough food, all we need is to give people the money to buy the food. That will not cause inflation. You know, there is an economist, John Maynard Keynes, who propounded that theory to address recession. Okay? Print money and give to people to buy food. That will not cause inflation. Because you have already produced a lot of food, then for people to be able to buy, you have to give them income. And that means the best way to do so is to engage people in agriculture, give them employment in agriculture. In the beginning, because we have to fund payment of wages and salaries in the farm. Apart from printing currency notes, you can also approach it through agricultural credit, which is being done in Nigeria today. Agricultural credit will give the money to the people to pursue agricultural development and to be able to buy food as well. But it is not way out if we give unemployment allowances to the youths who are jobless. All we have to do, already is happening, is that if you decide that, okay, you only need 5,000 naira to buy enough food for a month, and 5,000 naira may be more than adequate if we have mass-produced food crops, that the prices have come down substantially. Like, for instance, a bag of rice that is sold for 15,000 naira can come down to 3,000 naira if you pursue agricultural development the way it's to be pursued. Because it doesn't cost more than 3,000 naira, 2,000 naira elsewhere in other developing countries that are pursuing agricultural development. So if you do so, food will be cheap. Rice, beans, maize, fish, even meat, if we pursue agricultural development the way it ought to be pursued. So these youths will not just say, okay, come for unemployment allowance of 5,000 naira. No, they have to report at their local government origin. Okay, those who have no jobs, who cannot secure jobs in any part of Nigeria, have to go back to their local government of origin, where the local government will ask them to report and give them duties in the land or in sanitation. Okay, have to report. Even if they have no job yet, they should be reporting every day to know that they are available and they are not cheating, claiming to be unemployed when they have some other jobs to do. So it will be an arrangement between the local government and state government. Okay. The establishment of local government-based economic empowerment and gave employment schemes for the eradication of joblessness and idleness has to begin for the purpose of security of livelihood. There's a difference between security of life and security of livelihood. Security of life that will protect you from being assaulted, from being attacked bodily. But security of livelihood that will ensure that you have means of sustenance, of eating and feeding, that you can eat and survive. You have food. That is, you can sustain your life in terms of feeding. That's livelihood. That nobody is afraid of tomorrow, that what will I eat tomorrow? Everybody has that peace of mind that at least I have incomes. But we will not just give people incomes or unemployment allowance without seeing them. So there will be need for this economic empowerment and gainful engagement schemes that will involve local governments and the state as well as federal. But generally, it will be local government based. All those youths who have no reasonable job, street trading, selling bread on the streets, that's no job. Selling biscuits on the street, selling sweets on the street, that's no job. Running after cars is even not healthy. These people are inhaling dangerous pollutants, fumes from traffic, and it's even dangerous for their life. They can be knocked down, and some of them have been knocked down. So those who don't have legitimate jobs that you say, okay, this is a good job, they have to go back to their local government origin. In their local government of origin, they will easily get accommodation. So all government needs to ensure then is adequate food to eradicate hunger. And that's not difficult if we address agriculture. And there are so many approaches to addressing agriculture. As I've said earlier on, okay, security of life is basic in Islam. It's not the freedom and security of life also governs many things. Nobody should be insecure on the basis of his religion or her religion or tribe or class or gender. Therefore, government must ensure that everybody has freedom to live as a free citizen of this country without being molested for any reason. And therefore, it will be easy to even engage youth in agriculture. You can allocate farmlands to them, assist them with agricultural inputs, and give them guidelines. Okay? And in the beginning, we can source credit to give them income until the harvests are ready. It's not an easy matter to organize, but the major qualification, major requirement for successful organization of economic empowerment and gainful employment is integrity. Where there is fraud or with intention to cheat, to steal, to loot, nothing will work. And if we are not careful, Quran warns such nations that do not stop in engaging in fraudulent practices will eventually face destruction. So it is the responsibility of religious leaders to fight, to adopt, to uphold integrity. The fight against corruption should involve everybody, including religious leaders. And we should not only fight through admonition, but also through example, leadership example. Prophets of God who have come to the world to admonish their people to stop fraudulent practices, they are all usually very poor people. They do not seek worldly gains. So they have their own example that they show the people. That even though these prophets, like Shuaib, like Noah, like Lut, like the Holy Prophet Muhammad, like Jesus Christ, peace be upon them all, they were not wealthy people. They were not greedy for wealth. So they led by example. The fact that they are not well-to-do, not wealthy, does not make them want to steal. So religious leaders should adopt this kind of example of the prophets. They should not be greedy and be looking for corruption for wealth that is not from legitimate earnings. Okay? So if religious leaders lead by example, their preaching will work. They should not honor wealthy people whose source of wealth is questionable. Okay? That is the example we have from the prophets. Prophets don't honor wealthy people whose source of wealth is questionable. So a major requirement for successful eradication of poverty of hunger is integrity at all levels. And modern technology has made it possible to eradicate corruption and fraud. Computerization, okay, and biometric registration will make it easy to detect any fraud. So by the time we register everybody using computer system, biometric registration, nobody will come and claim, there will be no ghost worker because you're identified by your biometric criteria. Therefore, but those who organize it must adopt the proper systems of ensuring transparency and accountability. The land is our way out to solving poverty. And now, if we talk of recession, our concern is not because the nation is not very wealthy, national income is not very big. The major concern of recession is poverty. We are not looking for too much wealth. All we are looking for is that nobody is going hungry in the land. Nobody lacks access to safe water, and no one lacks access to reasonable shelter and clothing. So therefore, our concern with recession is the widespread unemployment that will threaten the security of the land. And there's no amount of police that can ensure security to life and property if a large proportion of youths are jobless, they are in poverty, they are suffering, they are homeless. You cannot ensure security in spite of severe punishment for armed robbery, for kidnapping, for raping. These crimes still continue unabated. That's because, fundamentally, we have turned our backs to the injunctions of God Almighty that we eschew corruption and fraud and promote integrity and justice and give everybody its due. In terms of land, Quran says, Wal ardo, wal ahli anami. The land is spread for everybody equitably. Okay? There should be nobody who wants to do farming and cannot get land. It's going to be responsibility of government, whether at local government level, state level, to ensure that every youth can be given land to do farming. And they are giving assistance in terms of actual inputs and guidance. Because whatever happens, God says nobody must go hungry. In many parts of Quran, God complains that we do not bother to promote feeding of the poor. God does not say whether they are lazy or not. God does not want anybody to go hungry. That is the major attribute of God, being Lord of grace. And we have to ensure that we assist all youth to be able to address question of poverty. It is our responsibility to guide the youth, to train the youth, to reform the youth, and make them able to live a decent life. But the beginning of that is one, security to life. If I want to go and do farming, I must have peace of mind that nobody will attack me, assault me, whoever he is. Whether it's a radical person, it's a cattle rearer, or cattle rustler, whatever it is, that I'm protected by government. And that is not difficult. All government needs in this respect is to budget adequately for police protection. But as people said, it has not been possible to ensure security since independence. Adequate security cannot be ensured in Nigeria. So it may be necessary for leaders of the country to consider the option of also having state police. Okay? Because we shall be answerable to God for lives that are lost through assault by criminals. Government will be called to account by God Almighty for the life that is lost because of their failure to ensure security of life and property. As I've said, if any ruler is not capable of ensuring security of life and property, he should not come to government. He should not say he wants to be a leader. God will call him to account. A major criterion for the leader is to protect life of every citizen of the country. Now, coming back to land again, there are many options in promoting agriculture. One option is to make sure that everybody has access to land if you want to do farming. And government can now assist him to get good land, get implements, get training, and well organized, either to cooperatives or whatever it is. Another option is for government to encourage private sector investment in agriculture, where they can acquire large hectares of land. Government will not ask private sector to go and buy land. That would be too expensive to promote agriculture. We used to have a program that they call NALDA, National Agricultural Land Development Authority. Government should make available as much land as possible to private sector enterprise, private sector entrepreneurs who want to go into agriculture. Whatever amount of land they require, they should give to them, but it will be certificate of agricultural occupancy. As long as they produce food on the land, they have right to use the land. If they are no longer producing the land is back to government. Okay? The land is only made available for purpose of agricultural development. And therefore, the private sector will now concentrate on bringing in investment in agricultural implements. Like, for instance, large amount of tractors, implements, harvesters, mills, so that when they now grow large hectareage of rice, okay, they can even grow rice with aircraft, with aeroplane. They can irrigate the whole land. They can invest in all these things. If land will not be an issue. Legally, they say land belongs to the state, but I don't know whether that works. However, it is part of security that government has to ensure that the law is backed by enforcement, proper enforcement of the law. And that's one of the major responsibilities of government. So when you have this land, the private sector can now plant the rice mechanically using aircraft and plant thousands of hectares of land. And with a combined harvester, before 3 months, you can harvest the rice, take it to the mill. The mill will dry the rice, separate the husk from the grain, and bag automatically. Within a few months, the whole country will be flooded with rice, and we can even export. We have enough money and enough investors, enough rich people that can go into agricultural enterprise and produce all kinds of things we require, whether it's rice or beans or even fish. Government needs to provide a enabling environment, and government should not make these things expensive for investors. As I've said, I keep on emphasizing it. One major enabling environment is security. When government allocates land to the investor, nobody should harass the investor. Nobody should say, okay, it's our land, we want to do this. Nobody. It's government failure that you allocate land to people, he has CFO, maybe it's a case of occupancy for agricultural purposes, not for building estates, but just for farming only. Once you have government certificate of occupancy for agricultural enterprise, nobody should go and harass you. Nobody. Where people now harass people is complete failure of government. As long as we have this problem, I'm afraid this nation will find it difficult to grow. So, as Quran says, it is land that we use to address the problem of hunger in the land. And land can give employment to millions of youths. And government needs to call together those people of integrity and competence to be involved in the arrangement of this economic empowerment and gainful engagement schemes for our youths, for the eradication of joblessness, idleness, and hunger. Now, but by the time you address this, why are we talking about the economy? Economy is basically to make people have good life. And one major aspect of good life is agriculture. It's food. By the time people can feed well, then their brain will be able to work. They'll be able to think. Somebody who has not been eating for this cannot even think at all. Millions of youths are preoccupied with how to survive, how to feed, and therefore they cannot reason at all. They have been driven into insensibility. They have been driven to senselessness. But by the time you give them reasonable accommodation in their local government of origin and they have good food, their brain will now work. And the whole nation will now be able to engage in creativity for development. Majority of our people are not creative because they are still preoccupied, obsessed with how to feed, with basic needs. And as long as that happens, you cannot expect that people will be able to think and act well. So this is a major challenge. Now, one other area of addressing economic recession is for government to promote various sectors of the economy. And one way to promote it is for government to step up the investment in infrastructure. This is affecting business. A lot of business people cannot compete with imported products because cost of doing business in Nigeria is very high. And one major cost is energy. We'll talk more about the infrastructural foundation of economic development. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ahmadiyya zindabad, oh zindabad. Ahmadiyya zindabad, oh zindabad.